received his first. And Tino Martinez will never forget the moment he got his. This spring day marks the return of the skipper, who remembers that warm spring day 2 years ago when he basked in the glow of his first title. Today, the champions get their rings, and the tradition continues. Welcome to New York Yankees baseball on Fox 5. Today is ring day as the Yankees take on the Detroit Tigers in the final game of this three-game series and receive their World Series rings. Today's starting pitchers, first of all for the Tigers, Justin Thompson, El Duque. Orlando Hernandez makes his second start for the Yankees. What an emotional day it is as you take a look at that beautiful 1998 World Championship ring. It features an interlocking NY set with 24 diamonds representing each of the 24 unprecedented World Championships on this franchise. Moments ago, one of the most emotional parts of this ring ceremony was the introduction of the skipper, Joe Torre, coming out and coming back to Yankee Stadium for the first time. Thank you. Everybody glad to have Joe Torre back. All the players got up on the front steps of the dugout and gave him a huge ovation, Tim. I tell you, that was really an emotional moment.
One of the key things and one of the big things in Joe Torre's life was his first World Series ring, and his second World Series ring coming under these circumstances gets to you.
It really does, I'll tell you that. Well, it has gotten to Paul O'Neill. In fact, Paul has been a recipient of 2 World Championship rings in the last 3 years. And Paul O'Neill, if you talk about the guts of the Yankees, he's part of it, I'll tell you that.
And speaking of Joe Torre, Joe's saying that Paul O'Neill, everybody in the lineup keys off of him, not only because of his intensity, but because of his approach. Look at the head on these 3 hits that we're going to show you from Oakland. All 5 of his first hits were to left field. And by having your head in that position, that allows you to finally turn on a ball. A double against Brian Moeller yesterday, adding to the lead that the Yankees had. I'll tell you, his form, he had a terrible spring training, but his form now is picture perfect.
Well, he batted only .208. So much for spring training when you got a veteran hitter like Paul O'Neill. 7 for 16 already on the year, and 5 of those hits are doubles for Paul O'Neill. Well, we saw the emotion on Joe Torre's face as they were announcing all the players and coaches. Can you imagine the emotion for El Duque, Orlando Hernandez? Just a little over a year ago, he risked his life to defect from Cuba, and now he's experiencing something that 1,000 guys have never been able to do.
You had a great line, Bobby. You said, here it is, time to receive the ring, and El Duque's warming up.
Ladies and gentlemen,
remember his first start back in Oakland last Tuesday. If he couldn't do it himself, and he did it 6 times, striking out 6, then his defense behind him would do it. Watch this play once again by Chuck Knobloch with Hernandez covering. What an athlete.
And 7 1/3 in his first start for 1999 as he wins the game. In fact, that was the first win for the Yankees this year. He threw 120 pitches. He goes for number 2 this afternoon as we wrap up this 3-game series with the Tigers right here on Fox 5. First pitch coming right up. New York Yankees baseball on Fox 5 is brought to you in part by your local Toyota dealer. Toyota every day. And by Red High-Speed Internet Access. Call 1-888-RED-2000 today. And remember, fans, red means go. And by Ford Cars and Trucks, built for the way you live at your Tri-State Quality Ford store. And welcome to Yankee Stadium. Bobby Mercer along with Tim McCarver. Orlando Hernandez taking his warm-up tosses. And El Duque will be facing the Detroit Tigers for the first time here in 1999. His first start against Oakland. Let's take a look at the Tigers lineup brought to you by Thumann's. It'll be Juan Encarnacion Check that. Encarnacion. Greg Jeffries batting second. Damon Easley, Tony Clark, Dean Palmer, Bobby Higginson, Debbie Cruz, Bill Hasselman, the catcher this afternoon, and Brian Hunter in center field.
And the same defense that backed up El Duque in Oakland. He won the first Yankee game of the year. And the reason we highlight the Yankee infield, they have not committed an error in their first 5 ball games this year. One of 3 American League teams not to have an error. What a terrific defensive team the Yankees are. They can beat you in so many ways, and defense is one of them.
And one of the other 3 teams is right here this afternoon. The Detroit Tigers go along with Baltimore. All 3 clubs errorless so far here in 1999. It is a overcast sky here at the stadium and a bit cool. You will see lots of coats being worn by the fans. And another good crowd on hand. For the final game of this 3-game series between the Tigers, the Yankees have won 4 in a row. So their record now 4-1, and the Tigers just the reverse of that. They are 1-4. Juan Encarnacion will lead it off, 3 for 18 on the year. And lots of youngsters on hand, and we know who they are for. Encarnacion led the 1999 season off with a home run against Texas as Detroit opened up against the Rangers. And El Duque's first pitch is outside for a ball.
By the way, folks, you saw that emotional scene with Joe Torre accepting his ring, and Joe Torre will be part of our broadcast today, joining us sometime in the middle innings.
That's out of play, and the count goes to 1-1. Yankee starting pitchers have averaged here early on almost 7 innings per game. Last year they were around the 6.2, just a little over 6 innings as Mel Stottlemyre looks on. And boy, Mel's got to be pleased with what he has seen so far here early on. What David Cone and what Roger Clemens did yesterday along with Jeff Nelson. Coney pitching the opener here on Friday and doing a fantastic job. In fact, he had a no-hitter going all the way through 5 innings on a terrible day. Swing and a miss, strike 3, way up and in. Encarnacion is down, 1 out here at the top of the first.
We talked yesterday, our first time that we've seen Encarnacion this year, but when you hold your bat that high, you're vulnerable inside. This fastball chews him up at the letters. Check and see where this fastball is from Hernandez.
Well, when they find out that you will swing at that pitch, as Clemens looks on, they just keep pounding you inside and up until you prove you can hit it.
Right.
Designated hitter Greg Jeffries now taking a curveball in for a strike. 3 for 15 on the year, looking for his first home run. Easy play for Brocious, and there's 2 gone. And as Tim was alluding to about the defense for the Yankees here, Hernandez certainly relies on his defense. He doesn't strike that many players out. They put the ball in play, and he couldn't have a better crew behind him.
You've heard that expression, contact hitter. Orlando Hernandez is a contact pitcher. The difference is he wants the hitters to make contact on his terms, not on their terms, and he does that by staying ahead of them.
One of the finer second basemen in the American League, Damon Easley, bats third in this lineup. A homer and 3 RBIs for Easley. Led the American League in fielding last year. El Duque drops down. He will show you different angles. I mean, many different angles. And that's his style of pitching. Able to blow on the hands the pitcher is today, given permission by the umpire. It's 44 degrees. That's fouled out of play.
That's an example of Hernandez. Last 2 pitches, dropped down with a fastball, drops down with a breaking ball. I'd smile too with the World Series ring in your pocket. Luis Sojo.
Another one. So it's 1-2 to count on Easley, and Easley will ask for timeout. Way outside, and that'll leave the count up at 2-2. Check this out. El Duque has had 9 starts here at the stadium in his short career. His record is 8-1. Easily able to hold up on a tough pitch outside. Now it's 3-2. He changes speeds, he changes arm angles, and the batter has a tough time adjusting. Swing and a miss, strike 3. El Duque strikes out 2 of 3 here in the top of the first inning. No score, Yankees coming up. Back at Yankee Stadium, Thompson has finished his warm-up tosses, so he will take a look at this Yankee lineup brought to you by Thuman. Chuck Knobloch leads it off, followed by Jeter, then O'Neill, Bernie Williams, Davis, Martinez, Posada, Brocious, and Curtis batting ninth.
We talked about the Yankee infielders. Well, it's the Tiger outfielders, Encarnacion, Hunter, and Higginson. Higginson 2 years ago led the majors in assists with 20. There's Bobby. Also Dean Palmer. Davy Cruz to shortstop. Damian Easley. Tony Clark at first. Bill Hasselman behind the plate this afternoon.
And lots of high hopes for this big, tall left-hander, 6'4", 215 pounds, from San Antonio, Texas. Got a good fastball in the mid-90s. That pitch misses to Knobloch. First pitch of the game for the Tigers. Knobloch 3 for 17.
Chuck will take a strike. Rarely does he sit on a fastball ahead in the count.
When you talk about highlights on the Tigers, as Knobloch takes another one up high, it's 2-0. You talk about Brian Moeller, who pitched yesterday and pitched a pretty good ball game against Clemens, but Justin Thompson, who started his career out pretty good, 15-11 in his first year. And last year, after having some surgery, he didn't have as good a year. He reversed that. It was 11 wins against 15 losses.
2 years ago, an all-star pitcher. Made the all-star team.
Knobloch fouls that one back and out of play. Now it's 2-2. Well, let's take a look at today's General Motors scouting report.
Key is his curveball. Talking to Paul O'Neill before the game, saying that if Justin Thompson gets his curveball over, he's much faster. You have two things to think about. He'll throw an occasional changeup to right-handed batters.
Main thing about Thompson is that he is healthy right now. That's that curveball missing way up high.
That was funky right there. That's not your quality curveball, either rotation or location. This delivery right here is really messed up. It looks like he's on top too much. Looks like he threw that from a ladder.
Out of play off to the right side, and Knobloch hanging tough.
Of course, sometimes pitchers, particularly young pitchers, they'll start off your first, second, third inning. The curveball may not be there, but one of your responsibilities as a catcher is to try to work it in enough in situations where you don't get beat by it. Bring it around.
Down the right field line, this could be trouble. And it is. Past Higginson. It will roll all the way around the wall, and Knobloch with an easy leadoff double for the Yankees here in the bottom of the first inning. And one of the things, Tim, that gives Justin Thompson lots of problems as contact hitters, because he doesn't have that third pitch.
Well, a predictable fastball to Knobloch, and you can see Bobby Higginson too close to the line, recovering in time to hold Knobloch to a double. A lot of other right fielders in the American League, that ball's a triple, but Higginson did make a very good recovery, and with nobody out, Knobloch must be sure if he tries to take third, so he just stopped at second.
Derek Jeter now steps in for the first time. Jeter with a home run and 4 RBIs. Lifetime against Justin Thompson, he's batting .375. That'll get away from Hasselman. As Knobloch moves up to third, time was called because of fan interference. So now the Yankees have a runner at third with less than 2 outs.
Bill Hasselman, that ball just off the heel of the glove, or the thumb of the glove. That's a pass ball easily. It didn't look like he picked the ball up. Certainly Knobloch picks up another 90 feet. Might have been a cross-up right there. Hasselman out to talk to Thompson. First pitch with a man on at second base. Usually that's an indication that the pitcher crossed the catcher up, and he certainly looked like it when that ball, if you're looking for that local and you get the express, it can be very frightening.
Good point. So an 0-1 count now to Jeter coming. Good pitch on the inside corner. Now it's 0-2. One thing that Jeter does well, along with a lot of these other Yankee hitters, is that he drives in runners from third base. He's about a 65% guy driving that run in from third base.
How about this? Infield in with nobody out in the third inning. I think the reason for that, it was no balls and 2 strikes on Derek Jeter. That pass ball we were talking about, look at how little movement Bill Hasselman has. You almost know he was looking for a breaking ball.
No doubt about it. Talked about the infield coming in. They have talked about rain maybe moving in here too at Yankee Stadium, and it could be that Larry Parrish is saying, look, whoever gets on the board first may have the big advantage with rain possibly moving in. So I don't know. He's asking them to move back now. You can see him waving the infield back. Now that the count is 2-2, maybe he thought Thompson also could make a good pitch. Another pitch inside, and now it's 3 balls and 2 strikes to Jeter.
That's not bad thinking on Larry Parrish's part. The count, no balls and 2 strikes. Derek Jeter in a defensive position. Not as apt to hit a ball hard as, for instance, if he's ahead in the count, 1-0, 2-0, 3-1.
A little chopper, but it's foul.
Derek Jeter had his mind set on swinging at anything that was coming up there then.
Yeah, that ball was low and outside, but on 3-2, you always feel like you have to protect yourself.
Right.
Chris Chambliss always with a watchful eye with the hitter up there. And another chopper off to the left side. Well, Thompson delivering that 90-plus fastball, and if he can get that curveball over, he also has a cutter. And he gets hurt with the cutter because something that Andy Pettit had a problem with, too. He gets to throwing it a lot, and he just gets to spinning in the strike zone, and it's not cutting much. Of course, his changeup is one of his better pitches. Down low, ball 4. Nice job done by Derek Jeter. Hanging tough, and now the Yankees have runners at first and third for Paul O'Neill.
Larry Parrish, the manager of the Tigers, his first full year, taking over for Buddy Bell, who was fired last September 1st. He is woefully short in the pitching department. Paul O'Neill, very effective against left-handed pitchers, but Justin Thompson, the starter today, not effective against left-handed hitters last year. And a lot of people point to that being the major reason that he was 11-15 last year, 15-11 the year before.
Just to back that up. And O'Neill, one of the hottest hitters for the Yankees, stepping in. Got in on the hands a little bit, but O'Neill goes the other way about as good as anybody.
And that's how the Detroit Tigers outfielders are playing, Paul. You key off the center fielder. If you're at the ballpark and you see the center fielder playing toward left center or right center, that's generally an indication, because he's almost the outfielder that tethers the others with him.
That's inside and low, so the count goes to 1-1. Well, you hope they do it.
Yeah, right.
You hope your right fielder and left fielder does that. O'Neill with 6 home runs versus left-handed pitching last year. He got a chance to knock Knobloch in. Jeter on at first base. Nobody out here in the bottom of the first. And that curveball missing once again way up high.
Doesn't look like Justin Thompson can feel that curveball. On a cold day, those oil glands in the hand, they dry up, and it's tough to really grip with the seams. You saw Bernie Williams on deck. Looks like Justin Thompson is having a tough time with the grip of that curve.
Jeter's got speed on at first base, but taking a small lead. Jeter may stay to give O'Neill a chance to maybe drive that ball through the right side with that big hole. Swing and a miss, strike 2 now, 2-2.
Paul didn't look like he picked that fastball up real well. A little down below the knees. That's not your normal 2-ball and 1-strike swing by Paul O'Neill.
But that's your normal pitch for a left-hander that likes to rake it down the right field line, which Paul doesn't like to do. That's foul off to the right side. So Thompson came back in that same area. This time O'Neill made contact. This puts added pressure too, Tim, on the infield with Jeter with good speed at first base. Knobloch a good runner at third base. So the infielders, they've got to play a little bit out of position for the double play. O'Neill a contact hitter. On one, and he lines it into center field. Brian Hunter was lucky to be able to back up and make a catch on that ball as Knobloch tags up, comes on to score. The Yankees take a 1-0 lead.
Boy, you talk about hitting this hanging curveball right on the button. Another hanger by Thompson. Ooh. Ball was scorched to center.
Hunter's got great speed in the outfield. And I mean, that ball was hit on the line. So an RBI for O'Neill and 1-0 Yankees. The Yankees have scored a run in the first inning in 4 of the last 6 games.
Chuck Knobloch tagging up on that ball, but if you're a guy like Derek Jeter, that ball that O'Neill hit to center field, you can't tell whether it's going to be over the center fielder's head. So if you see the center fielder having problems with that ball, you want to be at second base so you can at least get to third if he misses it.
Bernie Williams tries to check his swing, and that's off the lumber. So it's 0-1.
If, on the other hand, you're the runner at first base with the runner on at third, you know he's tagging on a routine fly to the outfield, you're going to be tagging too to force the throw to second base. If they overthrow the cutoff man, that gives you 90 feet.
Knobloch did his job. Got on base and scored. That's what he does best for this ball club. Besides playing a solid second base defense. Speed. And another ball well hit. Hunter on a run, and he will catch up with it. Right in front of the warning track as he bangs up against the wall, and Jeter goes back to first base. So Bernie couldn't have hit it any better. Just in a better spot.
This ball an outside fastball, and you can see Bernie Williams reaching for that ball. It gives you an idea of his strength. That was not in his wheelhouse. He had to reach for that fastball tailing away and still hit it almost 400 feet away.
Beautiful contact from Bernie, a little bit out in front, but you can see that he still had his hands in good position to make a good swing at it. So Chili Davis now will step in, and he turns around on the right side against the lefty Thompson. Chile leads the club with 3 home runs and also in RBIs with 7. He's only 8 for 16 here early on in 1999. Jeter still a worry over at first base for Thompson.
Matter of fact, Derek is more of a concern now than he was with nobody out. With nobody out and Paul O'Neill hitting, a double play scores Knobloch. Now with 2 outs, you have to take more chances as the base runner at first.
Jeter with 30-plus stolen bases last year, along with Knobloch also with 30-plus. You're apt to take a little bit more of a chance when your hitter with 2 outs gets at least 1 strike on him, especially when they get 2 strikes. They would be more likely to take a chance on going to second base. And I think Thompson is aware of that.
Yankees seem to always have the pace of the game in their favor. Quick outs and long ends.
Long ends, long offensive ends.
Yeah, right.
Certainly so in this 3-game series.
You know, they can make pitchers go to first base a lot. Their hitters take a lot. They run a lot of deep counts. They make the defense stay out there a lot. Much like a good offensive football team will make a team. They may not score, but from the 20 to the 20, that defense is out there, and ultimately in the 3rd and 4th quarter, they get them.
Cat and mouse game now being played by Thompson and Jeter. This line into right field, so Davis continues his hot hitting. Davis with a better average from the right side than from the left side, but most of his ABs have come early on from the left side.
Chile, one of the rare switch hitters who is a good low ball hitter for both sides. It used to be that if you were a switch hitter, you were a good low ball hitter left-handed, good high ball hitter right-handed. Chile likes it down both ways.
Where do you let up? All right, Tino Martinez is coming up now.
No soft spots.
There's no soft spots in this lineup. Zimmer in a long conversation with Chuck Knobloch, and Tino will try to drive in Jeter at second. There's a breaking ball in there for a called strike. Tino with a home run in this series and a couple of RBIs. Lots of speed at second base. Davis on at first. Always remember, as we mentioned, that Thompson has more problems with left-handed batters than he does right-handed batters. From the left side, if you have been a left-handed hitter, which Tim and I have been, as Parrish looks on, he doesn't have a funky motion, so you don't have to worry about that. He just kind of comes over the top, so the release point is easy or easier to pick up. And if you go up there with the idea that you got to take away one of his pitches, and you can only look for 2, you know, it's big help.
Or take away one of his locations. If, for instance, a pitcher is used to throwing the fastball out away from you, then that eliminates the pitch inside, so you just look away.
And the breaking ball, each time he's thrown the breaking ball, it's been way up high with just a bit of spin on it with no break.
This was another high breaking ball, and now he's in the hole to Tino Martinez.
Looks like his release point on the breaking ball is way behind him or something and not out in front.
Yeah, it does. It does not look normal.
Posada waiting on deck. 3-1 count coming to Martinez. Most of the time, from good hitters, if that ball is in the strike zone on a 3-1 count, you'll get this kind of swing. It looked like a cutter, didn't it?
It did. That ball did something. Sometimes a pitcher tries to grip that fastball too tightly, and he throws an inadvertent changeup.
Whatever it was a pretty darn good pitch.
Sure was.
Runners will be off for this pitch. There they go. And it popped up off the left side. Just beyond the Tiger dugout, so Martinez gets another shot. And a fan is happy. These last 3 days have been extremely emotional for the fact that it's just raising of the flag on opening day, the fact that it is opening day. And Scooter was here, the chairman of the board was here, Yogi was here for the first time in 14 years. This afternoon, the ring ceremony. These guys receiving that World Championship ring. There goes the runners again. And it's out of play once again. The fans have been into it. The Yankees have won 4 in a row. They are showing the rest of baseball and why they are the world champions. Roger Clemens making his first start yesterday, and between Roger and Nelson, they shut the Tigers out 5-0.
Roger making a comment in the paper today saying he wished he could take the New York fans with him on the road.
Runners are off, and a swing and a miss at a ball out of the strike zone. So Martinez is down. But the Yankees here at the bottom of the first inning strike first. They lead it 1-0. Welcome back to Yankee Stadium. Yankees lead it 1-0 over the Tigers. And before today's ball game, Don Zimmer receiving his World Championship ring. Of course, Don has been hobbled by that right knee and the soreness. He makes his way.
I should have brought this to you. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
And of course, the American League president, Mr. Dr. Gene Buttigieg, apologizing to the skipper Don Zimmer because he's had horrific pain in that right leg, and Terrell, it's hard for him to walk around.
Comes out every morning very early, or early in the afternoon for a night game. Gene Monahan working on him. It has really been a bear.
I read a statement in the paper this morning as Tony Clark leads it off for the Tigers here in the second, and Zim mentioned the fact that, you know, if his knee doesn't get any better, he may consider retirement, early retirement, because he's in such pain. Clark with that big swing sends one down the left field line. And nice play by Curtis. You will see that Curtis never took his eye off the ball all the way from left field to the left field line. Nice play by the left fielder, Chad Curtis.
Both corners here at Yankee Stadium can be a little dicey at times. You saw Curtis find out where the wall, he knows where he is. Nice play. Almost see that right hand extended, trying to feel for the wall, but he had a pretty good idea how close he was to it.
And the big free agent acquisition for the Tigers this year, Dean Palmer, 4 for 19, yet to hit his first home run and pick up his first RBI. That's one of the reasons that they picked him up. This is high in the air towards center field. Can of corn for Bernie, who won his first Gold Glove last year. There's 2 gone.
Modern day term is a can of maize.
Oh, yes?
Yes, yes, we've changed that.
Oh, okay.
We've changed that. That's in vogue the last 2 years.
Where have I been? I've been out in the cornfields.
It's teenager talk.
Yeah, okay. 2 down, and Bobby Higginson will step in. Bobby 5 for 17, a couple of home runs and 5 RBIs. I know Larry Parrish would like to get that outfield set for himself. He's set in right field. They're a little bit unsure who's going to play center field and left field. His biggest concern is his pitching staff. That's out of play.
Larry telling us yesterday that he didn't realize that Kareem Garcia and Gabe Kapler were as far along as they were. Had he realized that, they may not have signed Greg Jeffries and used perhaps either Kapler or Garcia as the DH and stocked the roster with another pitcher.
Well, there's no reason to have those young people on the roster unless you're going to play them, because they need to be playing, being that young.
Try to get them 350, 400 at-bats at least.
Swing and a miss, strike 3, and Bobby Higginson is down, and it's another 1-2-3 inning for El Duque. Coming up in the bottom of the second, Joe Torre will join us. Stay with us. Well, the Yankees lead it over the Tigers 1-0 here at the bottom of the second inning as Joe Torre is joining us here at the bottom of the second. And, of course, Joe, what an emotional moment, not only for the Yankee fans, but for you receiving that World Championship ring.
No question, Bobby. When I come out of that dugout, I expected to walk out to see the president, and all of a sudden, the way the fans reacted, I just started this little trot, which sometimes people can't tell whether I'm running or walking anyway. But
Posada leads it off, and I'll tell you what, from Timmy and I, we welcome you back. I tell you, you look terrific, and it's just great to have you back home.
Well, you understand that, because you can second-guess me, and I don't respond. But Zimmer, you have a little more of a problem. You know that.
That's right. Now he's got a conduit. He's got you telling him what we're saying.
Exactly.
Right.
And then I tell him what to say, but he doesn't listen to me anyway.
I liked your line about Zim. He said, well, I can offer him some advice, but Zim's going to be Zim.
I remember in California, I talked to him before he went down to talk to the press, and he listened to me, and it was sort of like telling a pitcher not to knock somebody down and you know he's going to. It was exactly the feeling I had on the other end of the phone, that he's just going to go down and say what's in his heart. And I mean, that's him. That's why you love him.
And we do love him. I tell you what, he's been around 51 years, and you couldn't have a better guy sitting alongside you.
Well, he's a gambler, you know, and anytime you get a little conservative as a manager, you want somebody to keep pushing you to really what you want to do. I mean, we all admire guys who take chances, and I think the combination of Zimmer and Torre, we meet somewhere in the middle, and it's a nice situation for us.
Joe, tell us and tell the fans just how you feel and where you're at right now as far as your health is concerned.
Well, I feel terrific. I really do. I started working out the other day at a health club. Today, Jeff Mangold, our conditioning coach, put me through some stuff with the weights after I did the Stairmaster. And I'm going to get a feel probably in a week to know when I'm going to be back. Because that's the one thing the doctor said I'm going to have a problem with, is just my endurance. So I'm going to test it this week, and then I'll probably be able to make a decision on when to put the uniform on and start managing.
Feel like you're getting stronger day by day, Joe?
No question. I get up every morning and feel good, want to go out and do things, and of course the last couple of days coming to the ballpark, you know, sort of got my energy level up. But after the working out, I have felt fine. You know, even though I'm not killing myself at this point in time, I'm stepping it up a little bit each time.
Well, a leadoff walk to Posada. That brings up Brocious. 2 World Championship rings in 3 years, Joe. Quite an accomplishment for this ball club and for you guiding it. I mean, you are the mix. You are the chef that really stirs the ingredients. But, you know, last year they talked about with your record-setting win season and also the World Championship, they talked about, is this the best ball club the Yankees have ever seen? But I'll tell you what, if it isn't, it's the best 25-man roster I have ever seen.
I think that's the whole thing. You start. I misspoke at the parade last fall when I said these are the best guys that ever played the game. I can't compare our individuals with the 27 Yankees, but as a team and what we accomplished, sure, the rules are a little bit different because expansion, but we still had to win a lot of ball games.
High fly ball, easy play for Encarnacion.
So that's the one thing I held out for on the ring. I said, we've got to put best ever on the ring. Somebody may, you know, go past us, but up to this point in time, it's the best record any team ever put up there. And I think, you know, we should be able to acknowledge that with something we wear on our fingers.
There's that World Championship flag that they raised for the 24th time here at Yankee Stadium. That's almost unbelievable, isn't it?
That's incredible. When you know, it's sort of like Jack Nicklaus winning 20 majors and Ben Hogan winning, what, 8? You know, that's hard to look at.
Yeah.
That's why I couldn't find it earlier.
We had your ring. That's Joe's ring, and he was so gracious to let us take a look at it and shoot it for you fans so you could take a nice look at what a 24 World Championship ring looks like with 24 diamonds on it. Do you have it on now?
I do have it on now.
Oh, that is gorgeous.
And it jumps at you. And it was fun watching Brocious, you know, just flashing it in front of everybody's face. You know,
That's right.
Here
It's
it
his
is.
first one.
His first one. And then when I went in the clubhouse after the ceremony, Roger was in there, and I said to Roger, I said, well, it's going to be tough to top this one, but maybe we'll try next time. And you know, I know when I went to St. Louis over there, Timmy, with you guys in '69, I was envious. I see those rings on the wall on your fingers, and it was something I never had. In Roger's eyes, I saw hunger. I didn't see envy, and he was very determined at this point in time to get one for himself.
Part of that hunger you saw on the mound yesterday too.
Well, that's what he's all about. That, you know, everybody says, you know, how can you be better than last year? And again, taking nothing away from David Wells for sure, but you know, even David Wells, when we made the deal, understood you have to trade for a guy like Roger Clemens.
Besides that, you have El Duque here for the full year. You've got Chili Davis, who missed every game except for 35. I mean, those are things that you didn't have all of last year. Curtis is down on strikes.
And plus, I think Knobloch just getting settled last year. I think he's going to have a better year. And also, you know, Jeter's a year older and Posada's a year older. So in those two areas, I think you're going to get a little bit more.
And all the hitters continue to feed off Paul O'Neill, right?
Is he great? You hang your hat on Paulie all the time. And you know, you talk about when I first came over here, everybody's talking about how selfish he was. And then you sort of evaluate yourself and you realize if passion is going to equal selfishness, then I don't know what I'm talking about. But he wants to get a hit every time up. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Talking about being unselfish, you two guys have been able to be behind the plate. What about your combination between Girardi and how Girardi has helped Posada? And that's so unusual in baseball that you got two guys working together, especially to play at the same position.
Well, Girardi is such an intelligent kid, and he could be a starting catcher with a lot of ball clubs. He doesn't hit like Georgie's going to hit, but he certainly has the confidence of the pitching staff. And I think Tim and I can both tell you how important that is when you get in the situation, when you put down the fingers and the pitcher trusts you, how important that is to a situation. That's why I think Baltimore's going to be a little bit better with Charles Johnson behind the plate. I think it's going to help that pitching staff.
It's exactly what the Tigers did or tried to do this year when they got Osmus over here along with Hasselman. They had two rookie catchers last year with not a whole lot of experience with the young pitching staff, and so they said, hey, that's not going to work. We need a couple of veteran guys behind the plate.
Well, we took a beating, you know, in '96 when we got Girardi and let Stanley go. But you know, if your pitching's going to be your strength, you need somebody to catch the ball and be able to call a game. And that was what our priority was, and it's worked out for us.
1 ball, 2 strike count to Knobloch. Posada on at first base.
Seems like even you're talking to you today, Joe, and seeing you for the first time, seems like even your thought processes are all of a sudden getting back to the game and getting back to the situation.
Yeah, the cobwebs are getting out of there. And, you know, all the stuff I went through in my own mind and being involved in myself is, you know, being around the players has really helped me there.
Good ball in front of Higginson, but no, Higginson has the great speed. Will you stay another half inning or inning with us, Joe?
Sure.
All right. Appreciate it. We'll be back. Well, back here at Yankee Stadium, Bobby Mercer along with Tim McCarver and also the skipper, Joe Torre, as we talk baseball and welcome Joe back to Yankee Stadium. Hernandez, I mean, this guy just keeps getting better and better and better.
Warren Spahn talks about, you know, hitting its timing, and the pitcher's job is to upset the timing, and that's a perfect example of what El Duque does. He throws so many different speeds. Reminds me a little bit of Marichal. I mean, not, you know, not physically, but with the way he changes speeds from so many different arm angles.
And also that big high leg kick.
Yeah, the difference between the two is Marichal had the straight high leg kick with his left leg, and El Duque, of course, with it's like he's almost knocking himself out.
And he's quick.
But yeah.
And he's quick with that.
That knee up near the chin, above the shoulder.
I've seen him move around. He may be one of your better athletes. I'm talking about all-around athletes that you have on your ball club. I mean, he's a great fielder of his position. Bounces off the mound like a cat on those bunts and slow rollers.
How about that play Clemens made yesterday on that little roller and a third?
That leg kick that we were talking about.
God, if we tried that.
Oh, can you imagine?
We'd never get it down. Once you got it up there, we'd have to stay up there.
That'd be all there was to it. That'd be everything. This could be trouble. Bob Curtis able to run it down in left center field. So Cruz is gone, and well, talking about left center field, Joe, you still have competition out in left field for your ball club.
Well, again, Curtis, you know, he bides his time. He understands in spring training we're going to try to find out things about different players, and he just sits back there and says, well, if you put me in there, he doesn't say it, but you can read him. Put me in there, I'll do the job. And the only thing that hurt him last year was that when he signed our that contract, I think he felt he had to be more than he was supposed to be.
How about somebody being more than what he was supposed to be? How about Scott Brocious in the year he had for you last year, and of course the most valuable player in the World Series?
It's a great story. And we didn't have any idea what we were going to get in Scott Brocious. When he came to spring training, we saw how well he played defense. You know, this is an everyday occurrence. And then the hitting, what a bonus that was. And I remember talking to Billy Bean, the general manager out there in Oakland. He was talking about hit and run guy. He can do a lot of things, and he was right. I mean, he could swing and miss 10 times and then hit a ball behind the runner and get a base hit. He knows what he's doing with that bat.
Brian Hunter, the ninth place hitter.
That's normally not a good play with 2 out and nobody on, but somebody who can run like Hunter, you'll take the single to try to stretch into a double.
Well, he takes that pitcher out of his game, too, by having him keep an eye on him at first.
He better read the scouting reports on El Duque. How he fields those bunts, too. May not be as easy as it looks. 1 ball, 2 strike count to Hunter.
Now, you go back to Game 4 of the championship series against Cleveland, and watching El Duque in the coffee shop, how relaxed he was. I said, I'm not sure if he's going to win tonight, but I know he's not going to be afraid. And he probably won the game of the postseason for us.
But no doubt about that. That was the pivotal game that he won for you. Stottlemyre, another great job with his pitching staff.
No question. And I remember in Anaheim when we had to call El Duque in, and Mel, of course, through an interpreter, had to get across the fact that, hey, you just can't keep throwing those left-handers out over the plate. You're going to have to keep them honest. And from that time, you know, he became a much more accomplished pitcher.
3-2 pitch as he strikes out Hunter. So 9 in a row now for El Duque. Yankees lead it 1-0. Joe, great to have you back, Skipper. I'll tell you what, you're looking great.
Well, thank you, guys. I look forward to coming back for good here shortly.
You bet. We'll be back. All right, the Yankees lead it 1-0 here in the bottom of the 3rd, and Jeter comes up for the 2nd time. Boy, great to see you, Joe. He looks fabulous. He's got that spirit back. Great observation there. He said, you know, you're right in tune with what's going on already. Line into right field. Could be extra bases. Higginson does not pick it up cleanly, so Jeter with a leadoff double to get it started for the Yankees here in the bottom of the 3rd inning.
Joe Torre still has that classic Torre humor, too. What a weapon that is at a time like this. And a guy who can read outfielders like Joe Torre can read baseball players is Derek Jeter. Higginson does not come up cleanly with that ball, and Derek takes advantage and goes to second, but it is being scored a double.
One of the most difficult tasks for an outfielder here at the stadium is right down in both corners because they are rounded, and once they get by you, they just keep rolling all the way around the outfield. So the main thing that you have to do is make sure you stop the ball. And Paul O'Neill steps in. Well, he pulls it to the right side. Nice play made by Clark and Thompson, but he moves the runner up, more importantly, to third base with less than 2 outs.
That's why I question an off-speed pitch early in the count in this situation. You've got a left-handed batter like Paul O'Neill who hits the ball the other way effectively, but now the breaking ball speeds up the bat hit, allowing O'Neill to pull the ball and move Jeter to third. It's all right to throw the curveball or to mix it in later in the count, but to start him off with a pitch that he can pull, I don't think is good strategy.
And I think it actually fooled Paul.
Yeah.
because he wasn't expecting something off speed, knowing that you could pull the ball the right side with a runner down at second. Nevertheless, Bernie gets a chance to drive Jeter in, and the infield now will come about halfway. They want to cut that run off it. Well, they won't have a chance. It's going to be a base hit for Bernie. And Jeter will score. The Yankees will take a 2-0 lead. The Yankees continue to knock those runs in from third with less than 2 out. Something that they did last year all year long.
I think one of the reasons for that, Bobby, is yes, the Yankees do have power, but as much as power, they have contact. Bernie Williams, Paul O'Neill, Tino Martinez, they don't have guys who strike out a ton of times. They can make contact when it counts, and obviously a man on third with less than 2 outs, you want to hit the fly ball. Bernie just hit the line drive and drives in his 3rd run of the year.
And the switch hitting designated hitter, Chili Davis, who lined a single into right field his first time up. Fox 5 of the Toyota dealers are proud to present World Championship New York Yankees baseball, now available on the SAP channel of your television. Don't miss it. There was some talk in spring training this year about Chili Davis, yes, being a contact hitter from both sides, but he'd lost his power a little bit, even though he is 3rd all-time in the home run department as far as switch hitters are concerned, with 334, I think it is now. But he has put that rumor to rest already.
Well, that's where you can get Chili. If you're a pitcher, you remember Brian Moeller yesterday. Chili hit the first time up, he hit the ball out over the plate and down, and then Moeller worked him inside the next 2 times. But you can get Chili around the letters. If you can get him to bite at that ball from the belt to the bottom of the letters, that is his weakness. But you don't throw it where you want to all the time. That's the thing. And pitchers are trained to keep the ball down. So you get a low ball hitter up there, and all of a sudden they've got, say, a sinker baller, a guy with movement down. All of a sudden his windage changes, that scope changes. And it's very difficult because he's not used to throwing upstairs to give a guy high heat continuously.
Well, that was high heat, and it was delivered into left field for another hit by Chili Davis. Bernie holds up at second, so 1 out, 2 men on for the Yanks.
Yeah, that first strike on the 2-0 pitch was right around the letters. It appeared to me that this pitch was right around the belt. Sometimes we can't tell up here. It was about thigh high, about mid-thigh high. That is more to Chili Davis's liking. You get it from the thighs to the knees, and he can rake.
He's been raking here tonight.
You know, and the thing is, Bobby, it's not that easy. You and I both played the game. Most people who play the game of baseball find it very difficult to play. It's a struggle. And this team does not look like they struggle that much.
Tino Martinez. Tino took the call strike on the outside corner. He struck out his first time up.
Then you get to the psychological standpoint of bringing in a team like the Tigers, and you can see them kind of shaking their heads. Woefully short in the pitching department, as we said earlier. Not only can the Yankees hit, but they can shut you down from a pitching standpoint, and if you put it in play, they catch it. There's not much more to the game than that.
Well, this game is easy. It's easy to fail in this game.
Yeah, that's right.
In fact, you can fail 7 out of 10 times and still be considered a successful player.
Be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, you can be in the Hall of Fame. I failed a little bit more than that. That's the reason I'm not in that.
Well, you struggle. I think, you know, more than failure, it's that struggle. It's that day-to-day grind of not only the position you play the outfield. I was a catcher, and there's a certain amount of the rigors of catching. I think everybody knows that there's a different part to that from a pain standpoint. Joe Girardi can certainly tell you that, but it's the struggle of the day-to-dayness of it. And this team rarely, for the last 2 years, rarely looked like they're struggling.
And those high average offensive hitters, they do struggle, but they just don't struggle as long as most of the other ones do.
Yeah, everybody says, you got to have fun. Well, that's easy to say, but it's tough to do. And this team is so professional, and they legitimately look like they have fun. And I guess if you're talented, as Joe said, he doesn't know about the individual accomplishments, but as a team, it's tough to say that any other team in the history of the game was better than this team.
That's out of play. Like the old manager said before they broke spring training, he said, you got to play this game in the clubhouse meeting, you got to play this game loose and relaxed. But three of you have got to go.
That's great.
1 ball, 2 strikeouts to Tino. 2 men on. Yankees lead at 2-0. If you're an opposing ball club like the Tigers, and you get David Cone one day, you get Roger Clemens the next day, you get Orlando Hernandez the following day, you could leave town and you could be pretty disappointed and down when you go to the next city. Either that, or when you come in here, you just expect it.
Keep looking for flaws on this ball club, and it's a real reach. I mean, you say, well, Graham Lloyd was traded to the Toronto Blue Jays, and they lack a left-hander in the bullpen. That's true. But, I mean, if that's one of the few things that's wrong with your ball club, I mean, and all of your other areas are so much superior than other clubs.
Well, the big question when the Yankees made the trade, even though they got Clemens, was, well, you break up the chemistry. They had such great chemistry. Well, sure, they had great chemistry last year, but you can also have great chemistry in 1999.
That's right. 18 of the 25, we've said it before, but 18 of the 25 have returned. One of the 7, Roger Clemens. Pretty good chemist in his own right.
To say the least. One thing he does when he's not pitching, he is sitting in that dugout and he is watching and observing. Stottlemyre was telling me that he's got just a pile of papers on scouting reports, not only on the hitters, the players that is opposing him, but also the umpires.
I mean, there are famous stories about that Dodger team. Don Drysdale used to tell me great stories. It's one of those when pitchers weren't in the rotation, they'd be in sleeping on the training table. It's one of those get the lights before you go type of deal, will you?
And the runners were going. And it's ball 4, and the bases are loaded. And once again, Thompson loses a hitter that he was way out in front on. And that's going to bring the pitching coach, Adair, out to the mound.
As a matter of fact, your old ball club, the San Francisco Giants, they had a pool table in the clubhouse. And in the old days, with Gaylord Perry and Juan Marichal weren't pitching, they were in shooting pool. Now, and you compare that to Roger Clemens and the intensity that he brings, watching everything that goes on, and no movement is missed. It was different in those days. The pitchers were not guys that stayed out. I mean, naturally they rooted for the ball club, but they weren't guys, they weren't regular players. They were pitchers.
I know when I played in San Francisco, in between innings, I would spend my time in the sauna.
Yeah, well, of course,
just to warm up so I could go out for the next inning.
At Candlestick, and of course we've mentioned that the Giants will be gone from Candlestick Park next year, Pac Bell Park, in the year 2000.
Jorge Posada will step in with the bases loaded. Another runner at third with less than 2 outs for New York. They've been successful every time so far, and that's an off-speed pitch. Nice stop by Hasselman. Justin Thompson now already, and we're not out of the 3rd inning. 68 pitches in this game. You've got to throw strikes. You got to pitch in front of the hitters if you want to be successful on the major league level. I think you get to a point mentally where you think that everybody's going to hit a shot off of you, and you're trying to always hit the corners, and you're always pitching behind. And then the few times, Tim, today that Justin Thompson has been out in front on a hitter, he was unable to put him away.
There are a lot of young pitchers who can't get through their minds. You know, they try, but they're not experienced or confident enough to allow the guys behind him to play. We talked about Hernandez and how well he does. Try doing that at home, folks.
Hit for Posada. 1 run will score. They will hold Davis up at third. Yankees lead it 3-0 with still only 1 out. And the Yankees are 3 for 3 with runners at third base with less than 2 outs.
First hit of the year for Jorge Posada and his first RBI. Didn't hit it hard, but even by not hitting it hard, no way to score Chili Davis. Chili had to hold up momentarily at second. The ball was hit low enough to where there might have been a chance to make the play, but Chili not a fast runner, so had to stop at third.
And this is Brocious. Brocious 0 for 1 with that fly out to center. Got a chance here to break this game wide open. This will be deep enough for Chili Davis. Encarnacion will come back to the infield with the ball, and the Yankees lead it 4-0. 4 for 4 with runners at third.
Looked like a little cut fastball to center field. Remember we talked earlier about runners, now they lead off and everything. You can see Martinez going back, and also Posada at first, going back to tag to draw the throw to third base and allow the run to score.
So Martinez at second and Posada on at first. The Yankees are still not through. This is Chad Curtis. A little anxious at swinging at that high fastball. Joe talking about his situation in left field. All the time, that's Lira now warming up for the Tigers. You always have guys staying on their toes because they know that one bad day or 2 bad days, they could be out of the lineup with that competition over there. So I think competition really breeds better play out of all your players.
Certainly that's the situation in left field as Chad Curtis loses a bat on this curveball down. Chad Curtis starting the first game against Texas last year when Joe had his Ouija board going. The time he got to Shane Spencer, Spencer homered a couple of times against the Rangers, and Curtis scored a big run in game 1. It seemed like any left fielder Joe put out there did something to help the Yankees in postseason play.
Of course, Curtis put a couple of home runs and 5 RBIs. Ricky Leday has struggled early on. He got the start in the season opener. Shane Spencer waiting to really play full time. First time up for Shane Spencer. He got a base hit. He's got a great average against left-handed pitching. So if Zimmer had wanted to play Shane Spencer today, I mean, you couldn't gripe about that, right, obviously. Well, if you're a manager, those are the kind of situations you'd love to have on your ball club. It is a little bit cool here at the stadium. This afternoon, about 42, 43 degrees at game time. So far, the rain has stayed away. Curtis is one of those hitters that when he gets a couple of strikes on him, he will choke up on the bat for a little bit more back to throw. When you're a bench player on these kind of days, you will try just about anything to keep yourself warm. He did not go, and it's 3-2. So the runners will be going with 2 outs and a 3-2 count. Runners start, and a pitch is up high, ball 4. So the Yankees have batted around here in the 3rd inning. That's the 3rd hitter from the Yankees that Justin Thompson had been in front in the count 0-2 and ended up walking him, unable to put him away.
Yeah, you can understand Larry Parrish in a situation like this. Naturally, you want to win the game, but he understands that if the Tigers are to be in any way successful this year, he's going to have Justin Thompson as one of his successful starting pitchers. That's why he's still in there.
Up high to Knobloch. Well, he's got Flory, who is hurt. Bryce Flory, scheduled to start here opening day, was unable to go. He had to start a right-handed rookie that had never pitched in the major leagues before. Seth Reisinger, a guy that they are hopeful of, and he's on the disabled list right now. Justin Thompson struggling here. Moeller pitched a pretty good game yesterday.
The Tiger left-hander has just looked uncomfortable since the game began. Talk about a release point. I mean, he is all over the place.
Ball 3, 3-0 now to Knobloch.
If he doesn't walk Chuck Knobloch in this at-bat, it would be an upset. In the whole 3-0, and the way Knobloch can entice pitchers by ducking under fastballs, small strike zone, probably taking 3-1 also.
Why does a pitcher always throw a strike most of the time, 3-0, when they can't throw a strike otherwise?
I don't know, Bobby.
They seem to be able to find the strike zone as 3-0. Do they loosen up thinking that the hitter's not going to swing at it?
Maybe.
A high ball 4, so you're right, Tim. One thing Knobloch won't do, he won't swing at a pitch out of the strike zone. Martinez comes on to score. Yankees lead it now 5-0.
Now, the one thing you cannot defend is a walk. Nobody playing behind you, and the one guy in front of you can do anything about that. And that is the most frustrating thing about managing in the major leagues. Every manager I've talked to, wildness in a young pitcher.
Well, a pitching change here in the bottom of the 3rd. We'll be back right after this. 5-0 New York here at the bottom of the 3rd. But tonight at 7, have you ever seen a dog go postal? See it tonight on an all-new World's Funniest at 7 o'clock here on Fox 5.
Not after the mailman, after the mail.
Yeah, really.
Justin Thompson, not after the mailman or the mail, but a bat as he leaves the mound, comes in the dugout, fires the bat down the tunnel, and then the bat boy comes running out.
Where you don't want to be is coming down the tunnel.
bad
when he's
place
got
to
that
be.
bat going.
Well, it's you know, understand the frustrations of a young pitcher. He looked just totally out of whack today. You could pick it up from the first curveball that he threw. He'll be relieved by Felipe Lira, who is the only non-roster player invited to the Tigers spring training, and he made the ball club. Began his career with the Tigers back in 1990, so this is his second trip for Felipe Lira.
And the second trip in this inning for Derek Jeter. He's the one that started it with the double down the right field line. Came around to score. So Lira did something that Thompson was having a problem doing, and that's throwing strikes. So strike one to Jeter. Jeter has walked and doubled. High fly ball down the right field line. And Higginson did not make the catch. Back in the stand. For a moment we had to wait because we couldn't tell if it was in his glove or not.
Yankees open the season in Oakland, the very toughest park in the major leagues as far as foul territory is concerned. And this is a hitter's dream that has certainly added to Yankee averages throughout the ages. Those foul balls, if they're barely foul, they're out of play. Only other park I can think about like that is Wrigley Field in Chicago.
Or Fenway.
Fenway, yeah, Fenway, with the pesky pole down the right field line.
Now it's an 0-2 count to Jeter. A little D music on that pitch.
Jumping rope out of the way.
Lira pitched in 7 games at the major league level for the Mariners last year, but spent most of his time in the minors at Tacoma, the AAA affiliate. Great opportunities for guys that are looking to break into a starting rotation or to a rotation around baseball. All you got to do is just step up and do the job. I don't know how many pitching coaches that you talk to, you say, well, what do you look for first in a guy that you think has potential? And they say, I'll look for somebody who can throw strikes.
Yeah, good arm, throw strikes.
Yeah.
Good arm, throw strikes. Especially the second line pitching in Major League Baseball now, your middle guys. Very few teams have effective middle relief.
And like Justin Thompson, Lira had Jeter 0-2. Now it's 3-2 with 2 outs. Frustrating day for Larry Parrish, the skipper for the Tigers. Yankees lead at 5-0 and are threatening for more. The runners take off, and it's up 5-4, and a Tiger pitcher has walked in another one.
Bobby, your point's well taken. It's not it's not only that Justin Thompson and Felipe Lira have been wild, but it's why they've been wild, and it's how they've been wild. When you get a hitter 0-2, that's the time to bury him. We talked about 2 strikes yesterday. Roger Clemens had 16 hitters with 2 strikes. 1 got a hit. 1. You compare that with today, and it's just a flip-flop. It seems like 16 out of 17 Yankees have gotten on base.
And it seems to me that Roger Clemens has won like 5 Cy Youngs too, right?
Yeah, that's right. There's got to be a lesson in there somewhere.
There's got to be something in there.
Yeah.
O'Neill looking for his first base hit, a sacrifice fly, RBI in the first, grounded out in the third. Yankees 6 and the Tigers nothing, and the Yankees have the bases loaded With 2 outs here in the 3rd inning, looking for more. And Lira better be careful. Justin Thompson started, never got out of the 3rd inning. Down low, ball 2, 2-1. El Duque trying to keep himself loose and warm on the Yankee bench. This has been a long inning for him. No pitcher really minds how long those innings are as long as they're scoring runs for them. Now it's 3-1.
This is about as dangerous a situation as a pitcher can be in, because Paul O'Neill, one of the more opportunistic hitters in the major leagues. He'll look for something on the inside part of the plate and try to pop it out of here.
Perfect pitch on the outside. O'Neill, obviously, like you say, zoned in for a particular area, and it was out of that area, so he let it go.
Yeah, you're not only looking for a strike here, you're looking for your strike. He didn't get it, so he took it.
Another 3-2 count. Runners will be off. There they go. Ground ball, right side, pass easily into right field. 1 run will score. Here comes Knobloch. He will score. And the Yankees take an 8-0 lead. And they're still batting here in the bottom of the 3rd.
Paul O'Neill on his 6th pitch drives in 2 more. The Yankees with 7 runs in this inning. There have been 4 walks in this inning, 6 in 2 2/3 by Tiger pitching so far today.
Yankees shut the Tigers out yesterday 5-0, and Bernie steps in.
The only concern the Yankees have right now is the rain that is a possibility.
Easily having a problem picking it up and throwing it over to first. That baby's hot. Too hot. Another run comes on to score, and it's 9-0.
You know, this may be an error on Damon Easley, but in my mind, I think it ought to be a hit, because by the time the ball got to Easley, it had hit the pitcher, and the carom put a different spin on it than normally he would see. So it is an error on. To me, that's a base hit. I know it's arguable, and I know that you may disagree with me, or a lot of people would, but by the time the ball got to him, it had that funky spin on it, and it was, as you said, too hot to handle.
Yeah, and there's another play in baseball, too, from the outfield, is a perfect throw to the base, hits the runner, and caroms off someplace, and they can't make the play, and they give the error to the guy who threw the ball.
And the throw might have been perfect, but the runner was right there.
Right. Chile looking to leave the yard on that swing. Chile becomes the 13th batter in this inning for the Yankees. That error coming from the second baseman Easley, who led all the American League in fielding last year as far as second basemen are concerned.
We mentioned it in Game 1. He once had last year a 59-game streak, errorless game streak.
I'm not making excuses either, but the infielders and outfielders have been out there an awful long time. I say that I have been there before. You lose concentration.
Sure.
Because of this long inning, there's 13 guys that come to the plate here. Pitchers are 3-0, 3-1, walking to lots of batters in this inning, and you lose your concentration.
During this half inning, Ramiro Mendoza could have pitched a complete game.
Yeah. And speaking of Mendoza, well, we'll talk about Mendoza. As Clark flips to Lira. Finally, this inning is over with, but the Yankees come up with 8 big runs against this Tiger ball club. We've played 3. Here's the stadium. El Duque with a 9-0 lead. Well, it's 9-0 here at the stadium. But tonight, what's behind Homer's talent? That's Anchors. Then at 8:30, the Family Guys, a real showstopper. The Simpsons and the Family Guys starting tonight at 8 o'clock on Fox 5.
Bobby, this afternoon, you have a case of the perfect in Hernandez, who has a perfect game through 3, and the imperfect with the Tigers. That third inning was absolutely dreadful, and we mentioned in the third inning the only problem the Yankees would have is the rain. And sure enough, between innings, the skies opened up. The forecast is once it starts raining this afternoon, it's supposed to keep going until about midnight tonight. But on the other hand, these two teams could not play in any worse conditions than they played in on Friday.
And we still have a lot of turfus left here at the stadium, just in case we need it.
Well, you know, they used up about 23% of all...
5 tons.
Yeah, 5 tons of that turfus on Friday. Juan Encarnacion, fine play by Brocious. 1 out.
Well, what's new? Yankees saw this all last year, even though Brocious has a new glove that he's playing with here in '99. Good play by the Yankee infield. Well, that will loosen you up as a pitcher, too, knowing that somebody does hit the ball hard. You're going to make the play behind him.
Breaking ball outside to Greg Jeffries, the designated hitter. 9-0. New York on top. This one hit to right field. Easy play for Paul O'Neill. 2 quick outs here in the 4th inning.
It's a good swing by Greg Jeffries, but you will see just a bit out in front on this. The breaking ball, good pitch to him, but you can see how much weight he had already shifted towards the front leg. And the only other thing that he could do is just turn the hands over. So he never really got the power that he wanted behind the swing.
Damon Easley, a strikeout victim. 11 in a row, retired by Hernandez. We talked about it the other day. A hitter can get fooled, but if he keeps his hands back, he still has the authority and the thump left in the swing. But when you take those hands with you, you've heard of pitchers drifting. Well, hitters drift too. You know, those hands drift with him. When he's fooled, well, he's dead. 2 strikes on Easley.
Well, El Duque doesn't look like he is feeling any of the effects of that long inning. The inning before.
Way outside, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Tony Clark on deck. 9-0, New York here in the 4th. Easley holds up, 2-2 to Damian Easley. 16 months ago, this man was toiling for $8 a month. Today, before the game, he received his World Championship ring. 3-2 to Easley.
And just to add some more drama to that, the fact that he risked his life along with a few others to defect from Cuba as they get out into the waters, ended up in a Caribbean island. Now pitching for the Yankees. What a story.
Strike 3 call. 5 strikeouts for El Duque. 12 in a row retired. The Yankees thumping the Tigers 9-0. Yankees in a rout. This copyrighted telecast is authorized under rights granted by the New York Yankees solely for the private, non-commercial use of our audience. Any publications, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the New York Yankees and WNYW Fox 5 is prohibited. Tino Martinez leads it off here in the 4th, and he taps one towards second. True to Bobby Mercer's theory of swinging at the first pitch, Tino grounds to second.
Oh, I knew you were going to bring that up. We were having a little bit of fun in between innings saying, Timmy said, okay, this is skipper Don Zimmer. He goes up and down the bench and said, do I have any volunteers?
Any volunteers to swing at the first pitch and make it out?
Of course, the Yankees, this will not be an official game until they get the 3 outs at the top of the 5th inning.
Posada taking. That should be an automatic fine. 0-1 to Jorge Posada.
Yeah, that's right.
Yankees trying to get it in. It was raining in the top of the 4th. It has subsided somewhat. Splitter is low. 1-1 to Jorge Posada, who had his first hit in that 8-run 3rd inning. Of course, you know, the manager wants to win. That goes on his record. You want the hit because that goes on your record. You're not willing to accommodate the manager totally.
Depends on if you have a multi-year contract.
That's true. That's true. Here's Alan Trammell, the hitting instructor for the Tigers. Fine player, 20-year career. Bobby and I were talking about him on Friday, a guy who had 185 home runs in his 20-year career, 1,003 RBIs. Only 3 shortstops in the history of the game have ever exceeded those 3 categories as Posada takes strike 3. 2 outs here in the 4th, and that'll bring up Scott Brocious.
I'm not sure there was a longer combination in the double play department as you see Posada striking out. Lou Whitaker and Alan Trammell played all the way through the minor leagues together and all the way through the major leagues together and almost retired at the same time, too.
Yeah. There's a slider to Scott Brocious. Scott with a sac fly driving in his 5th run of the year. He does have a couple of home runs. He's 0 for 1 on the afternoon. Under this one, and he pops it up. Foul territory. Dean Palmer, near the photographer's well, to make the play. The Yankees go in order, in complete contrast to inning number 3. It's 9-0 New York. Orlando Hernandez becomes the 5th right-handed starter. Make that the 6th right-handed starter for the Yankees in this early season. As our Major League Scoreboard brought to you by Continental Airlines. Tampa Bay over Boston. The Red Sox out of the chute 5-0 going into today's game. That's our Continental Airlines Major League Scoreboard. Here's Tony Clark. Tony flied to left field on a nice play by Chad Curtis his first time up. Orlando Hernandez has retired 12 in a row through 4 innings. So he's throwing a perfect game. You ever believed in that stuff about if you mention it, the next guy will get a hit?
I didn't, but it was a big deal on the bench.
Ground ball to Tino Martinez, and he makes the play.
I'm not a superstitious person, though.
Nor am I. I thought the funniest thing about David Wells, or among the funny things about David Wells' perfect game last May 17th, was when David Cone, while going out in the 9th inning, David said, "Don't walk anybody." There's Coney. Coney and David Wells, very close friends. David almost a father figure to David. David to David. And Dean Palmer fouls it back. 0-1 to the Tiger third baseman.
Well, you were mentioning about all the right-handers starting for the Yankees this year. Of course, Andy Pettit's the only left-hander in this rotation, and he is on the stable list. Scheduled to pitch at AA Norwich tomorrow. And depending on how that goes, then Andy says that he possibly could be starting for the Yankees next weekend in Detroit, maybe on Saturday. But another factor, too, Mendoza got to start in Oakland, pitched well, and he's going to start Tuesday here against Baltimore. But Mendoza starting one more time for the Yankees.
Breaking ball outside, a ball and 2 strikes to Dean Palmer. The rotation for the Baltimore series, Mendoza, Cone, and Clemens. 3-2.
So quiet Ramiro Mendoza is that if you didn't see him in uniform, you probably wouldn't know he was here.
Inside, full count to Palmer. Still 3-2. On deck batter, Bobby Higginson, the right fielder. 9-0 New York here in the 5th. Popped up right side. Easy play for Paul O'Neill. It was Paul O'Neill who recorded the 27th out last May 17th. Orlando Hernandez has retired 14, the first 14 this afternoon.
From a player's standpoint, I really don't think you get into that no-hitter until a little bit after the 5th inning. So after this inning here, if the Yankees and the rain will stay away, then the players, I think, get a little bit more into that no-hitter that El Duque has going.
Bobby Higginson takes low. If it is a perfect game or a no-hitter, and it is a rain-shortened game, it does not count as a no-hitter or a perfect game. Matter of fact, Melito Perez had a 5-inning perfect game. I think it was 5 innings for the Yankees about 5 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago. And initially it had counted. David Palmer, the Montreal Expos, had another one against the Cardinals some years back, a dozen or so years back. Neither of those games, initially they counted, but neither of those games are in the record books today. 2-1 to Higginson. Outside, 3-1. Hit hard, but foul. 3-2. The 4th 3-2 count run by El Duque. Strike 3 call. They know 15 in a row retired by Hernandez. 9-0 New York. Chad Curtis 0 for 1. He did walk and score a run in the 8-run 3rd inning for New York. We're in the bottom of the 5th, and it is an official game as Chad takes ball 1, the slider from Lira.
That being the Yankees ahead here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Tigers have already batted through the 5th. So the only disappointment now, if the rain comes, would be the fact that El Duque has set down 15 in a row. And a bunch of zeros.
There's a strike to Curtis, 2-1 to Chad. $15 in a row from the beginning of the game, as you folks know, is a perfect game thus far. 2-2. It is, I guarantee you, it's certainly true in the dugout. I mean, right now, guys are not looking at Hernandez in the eye. And Curtis down on strikes, a backup slider. Second strikeout for Lira. 1 out here in the 5th inning.
Well, after Lira replaced Justin Thompson, he has settled down. He got the Yankees to go. The Yankees went for the first time, 1, 2, 3 in the 4th inning, and here striking out with a good pitch breaking ball on Chad Curtis.
All the guys trying to be a little cool about this. You know, he's got a long way to go. 12 more hitters to retire in order.
Well, what is this with Soho? He looks like he's the canteen manager down there.
Got candy for Leday. Hot chocolate for Romero. Well, when you're a utility guy, you learn how to do certain things.
That's right. 1-1 to Chuck Knobloch. Chuck's had a good day. Double scored a run in the first. Walk scored a run in the third. Here it is, the 5th inning. The 4th time up for Chuck Knobloch.
One of those games where you get to the plate so many times you can really have a good day, maybe even a good week, or a bad week if you take an 0 for 6 or 7. Everybody in this Yankee lineup has been on base except for Brocious.
3 balls, 1 strike. Any early bizarre games where ball clubs that you were on were way behind and came back to win?
Oh, just when I was with the Chicago Cubs many times.
I remember
especially against the Philadelphia Phillies.
Well, in 1976.
And Mike Schmidt.
And Mike Schmidt. You and I both played in that game. I played as a pinch hitter. You were a regular with the Cubbies. Knobloch walking. The Chicago Cubs were ahead of the Philadelphia Phillies 13-2 with 1 out and nobody on in the 6th inning. The Phillies won the game 18-16. Mike Schmidt hit 4 home runs, won the first home run against Rick Russell, the 4th home run against Paul, Rick's older brother. Can you imagine? Down 13-2 with 1 out, nobody on in the 6th, and end up winning 18-16 in 10 innings.
All I know is that when Philadelphia came to Chicago, Wrigley Field, we always chalked up at least 2 home runs for Schmitty.
Oh, Schmitty, I'm telling you.
And he normally left with 3 or 4 or 5.
Devastating in that ballpark.
One of those things, the first thing you do when you get to Wrigley Field, you look to see which way the wind's blowing before you put your uniform on.
Right, right. 1-1 to Derek Jeter.
Now, if the wind's blowing in and the manager didn't have you in the lineup, that was all right. You know, maybe I probably needed to take a day off, but that wind was blowing out. You got to be in the office talking to him.
Pay to get in the ballpark. 2 balls and a strike to Derek Jeter.
In my opinion, Wrigley Field is known obviously as a home run hitter's ballpark, but I don't think that it's really conducive to home runs unless the wind is blowing out. Normally the wind, and the 2 years that I played at Wrigley Field, blew from right field to left field, so it was really it was a deterrent for a left-handed hitter trying to hit the ball out in right field.
Long way down the line in the well, 355 down the lines at Wrigley.
But when the wind was blowing out, I mean, it popped fly, flew out of Wrigley.
Particularly the alleys, right center and left center, it's only 368. One of my another memorable game, 1979, a game that ended up 23-22. Phillies over the Cubs, 23-22. Mike Schmidt won the game with a home run in the 10th inning against Bruce Sutter.
I think Herman Franks was the manager in '79.
Could have been.
Herman and Peanut Flowery, his right-hand man, and I think Herman I can't remember if he took me out of the game or if I ended up at second base in that game. We'd used too many players, and Jose Cardinal was playing shortstop. Try that on for size.
Randy Lurch started that game, a left-hander for the Phillies. I think Ray Burris started for the Cubs.
Ray Burris.
Another one fouled away. At the end of 1, it was 8-7 Chicago. The Phillies scored 7 in the top of the first. Cubs came back with 8 in the bottom of the first. Randy Lurch had a home run as the starting pitcher in the top of the first.
We used to have a lot of games like that as a New York Yankee when we would go to Fenway. I think I remember back in the early 70s, we played 2 or 3 years at Fenway and never won a game.
Wow.
On the road.
Just outside, full count to Derek Jeter.
And we would have some of those games where we would be way ahead. They'd come back and take over the lead, so no lead was acceptable and no lead was safe at Fenway back in those days.
Well, that to some degree hasn't changed.
Yeah, really.
Full count to Derek Jeter. This one hit deep to left field. Back is Encarnacion, and kiss it goodbye. Derek Jeter with his second home run of the year. It's now 11-0 Yankees.
Something Jeter has been working on all winter long, and that is the top end. And he has been talking about it. You will see him with the top hand here. This is the new Derek Jeter. They've been featuring fastball, hard stuff inside on him all the time. Great contact there, but watch the top hand take over here, right there. And the full completion of the swing. A year ago, Jeter would inside out that ball to right field. Boy, with the top hand now and the talent that Jeter has, how many home runs could he hit?
That was well explained, Bobby, because that top hand is almost the result of what you've done in the swing. You don't intentionally do it. It looks like Derek's talking about that right there. Paul O'Neill drove in 2 his last time up. He drove in a run with a sac fly his first time up.
Great athletes take instruction real well. In other words, they'd say they're coachable.
This one hit deep to right field. Higginson, near the track, makes the play. 2 outs.
My point being, a guy like Derek Jeter, who's a great athlete, obviously, he probably has never been told how to use the top hand until now. But a guy like Derek Jeter can incorporate it now into his overall athleticism and make it work for him.
As long as you don't get caught up with it, as long as you can remember a little bit more of the old Derek, and then when you start trying to jerk everything, that's when you fall into bad habits.
One more look at it. Right there with the top hand and turning that sucker over. Well, I like that because I was a top hand hitter. And I got overly top hand here at Yankee Stadium because of 296 down the right field line. I mean, I did everything with my top hand, and then when I got traded or when I went to Shea Stadium, it hurt me because I was at a bigger ballpark. As you can see here, watch the hands right there. See that top hand right there turning over. Great picture there from our director, Bill Webb. Great shot of that top hand.
And you have to hit a ball like that for the most part, especially a ball that's up, if you pull it out of the ballpark. Grounded hard by the diving Clark. So Bernie Williams with hit number 3 on the year. And this Yankee attack is absolutely relentless.
You know what happens now with a guy who has made an adjustment to the pitchers who used to pitch in hard inside. I'm talking about Derek Jeter. They will now have to make another adjustment back to Derek Jeter. And that's what baseball is all about. I think that's the greatest part of this game as far as batter to pitcher. Pitcher making the adjustment, batter making the adjustment back to the pitcher.
We talked about Chili Davis yesterday. He hits a home run on a ball out over the plate from Brian Moeller. Moeller got him the next 2 times up on inside fastballs.
Good point. I think he didn't make the adjustment.
Yeah, that's right. But Moeller did.
Yeah.
1 strike to Davis. That happens during a game. That happens during the course of a season. After all, the Tigers, Yankees face one another within a 10-day period. Yankees going to Tiger Stadium next week, but they don't face one another for another 2 months. So things happen during that time. That's the reason for scouts that go ahead and look at players, scout players. Are they still the same way? Can I still do the same things with him, to him?
A lot of firsts in this game. Jose Cardinal makes his first play of 1999. Walked it over. Doesn't trust his arm anymore.
And Chili Davis is down with that inside high fastball. It's 11-0 Yankees. Orlando Hernandez has retired the first 15 Tigers. We'll be back.
Tell them it wasn't easy. When they look back and see 125 wins, tell them we never took a single one for granted. Teach them about our passion and our patience. If they ask who was our star, give them 25 names. And if you forget our names, just tell them we were Yankees.
What a difference the first year or the first week of a year makes. Last year, Joe Torre, through the Yankees' first 5 games, saw his team 1-4. This year, through the first 5, 4-1, and they're 11-0 ahead of the Tigers today. Joe Torre, Don Zimmer, of course, many Yankee fans saw David Wells pitch a perfect game last May 17th. Orlando Hernandez has retired 15 in a row. Now we get into the serious part of this ball game. And Bobby, you brought up a great point about, all the elements available for Hernandez to do that.
Well, it's a blowout, obviously. The Tigers have been beaten up in the first 2 games. They are probably about as low as they can be right now. So it's just go up there and hack and get the heck out of here without getting hurt.
Line drive, scoop by Knobloch. Picked by Martinez. My goodness. One out.
If I recall it, I think Knobloch made a nice play in the David Wells perfect game. All the time in the world, and when an infielder has all the time in the world, that's the time that they usually throw the ball away. But a nice scoop by Martinez.
Bill Hasselman, the catcher. Fly ball, right field, near the line, and it's foul. So 0-1 to Bill Hasselman. Yeah, the only thing about Chuck Knobloch, and again, to tell you what a great year Jeter had, Chuck Knobloch did have some problems throwing last year. I wouldn't say that it's still there only because of that throw, but that is reminiscent of his problems last year. And Jeter started getting him the ball a little quicker on double play balls to try to compensate for those throws to first base.
Really a mystery from the Yankees side because nobody ever saw that when he was with Minnesota. Won a Gold Glove over with Minnesota, and then last year he had problems on routine plays. I mean, just a short throw away, he would throw it in the dirt or couldn't get it over there, a la kind of what Steve Sachs went through with the mental part, being able just to throw the ball to first base.
Fouled out of play, 0-2 to Hasselman. 11-0 Yankees here in the 6th inning. Orlando Hernandez has retired 16 in a row. Outside, ball 1.
This, with 2 strikes on you, is too close to take. I mean, just barely missing outside. That looks like a strike to me.
You'll get no argument out of me. It's 2-2 to Bill Hasselman.
There's been an awful lot of talk with Hunter on deck, an awful lot of talk of centralizing the umpiring here in Major League Baseball.
Strike 3 call. That is 17 in a row now, retired by Hernandez, who unusually has struck out the 3rd out of every inning thus far.
And the perfect pitch right around the knees, catching the outside corner, and that's a knee buckler for Hasselman. How about those signs that they create here at Yankee Stadium for the strikeouts? Yesterday, rockets for Roger Clemens.
Out of play.
Today they had the El Duke K. I saw somebody up putting the El Duke K's up. There it is, the El Duke K. Fans are great here at Yankee Stadium and very creative.
Pretty original. Breaking ball in there. 0-2 now to Brian Hunter. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Right side, Knobloch, 18 in a row by Hernandez, 11-0 Yankees.
New York Yankees baseball on Fox 5 is brought to you in part by Infinity. Own one and you'll understand. And by J&R Music and Computer World, conveniently located at 23 Park Row in Lower Manhattan. And by Budweiser. Now is the perfect time to enjoy a brewery fresh Beechwood-aged Budweiser. And by the all-new Jeep Grand Cherokee, the most capable sport utility ever. Yankees come to bat here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Tino Martinez facing the new pitcher now for the Tigers, Masai Okita, who pitched in the first game of this 3-game series. The Yankees kind of roughed him up a bit, though, Tim.
Well, I should say so. 0-1 now to Tino Martinez. Kidda worked 2 1/3 innings on Friday afternoon. In for the youngster Baker Gratterall as Tino taps it towards second. 1 out here in the 7th inning. A 25-ring ceremony here at Yankee Stadium today.
And Darryl Strawberry returning back to Yankee Stadium to receive his World Championship ring. So a lot of first happening today. Strawberry back for the first time. Strawberry still recuperating and getting in shape down in Florida and the Tampa Bay area. He has, I understand, finished his chemotherapy now for 1999, and will focus now on building his strength up. The first thing you got to do is take care of your health, and then you worry about getting yourself ready to play some baseball.
Darryl will endeavor to do that down in Florida for about 10 days, then join the Columbus Clippers and get ready for his return to the big leagues. 0-2 now to Jorge Posada.
I don't want anybody to take this the wrong way, but in spring training, Strawberry was, at that time, looked like he was more worried about making this ball club than he was about taking care of his own health. When he was undergoing chemotherapy, he was worried about, getting his at-bats, playing in the outfield, and of course, that's just the competitive side of an athlete.
Scott Brocious on deck. 11-0 Yankees. Orlando Hernandez has retired the first 18 Tigers to face him. Kidda, 2 outs. Scott Brocious with a couple of home runs. Talking about my swing's okay. Obviously, you'd like to see the ball hit the grass a few more times, but my swing's fine. He has hit the grass on the other side of the fence a couple of times this year. But what he's getting at is that he's under everything. Both his hits for the '99 season have been home runs. He's 0 for 2 today. 0-2 now to Brocious.
Masai Okita, as you mentioned, pitched in the game on Friday. He didn't feel or look as comfortable as he is today. Got a pretty good arm, and I don't think the Tigers really know a whole lot about this young man.
One of 8 pitchers of Japanese heritage that have pitched in the major leagues. Of course, Hideki Arabu, Hideo Nomo. There's Hideki. Hideki pitching in the 9th inning at Oakland on Tuesday, make that Wednesday afternoon. Game started by Ramiro Mendoza. Low, ball 1, 1-2. Romero will start on Tuesday night. David Cohn on Wednesday. Roger Clemens on Thursday when the Baltimore Orioles come to the stadium. That thing may never get back.
Looked like one of those. That looked like one of those hot air balloons.
That two gentlemen just recently circumvented the globe
For the first time ever.
2-2 to Brocious. Ground ball. He got that one on the ground, but Kidda knocked it down, and Cruz threw him out. 11-0. El Duque goes to the 7th with the perfect game.
Well, the excitement building here at the top of the 7th. Yankees shutting out the Tigers 11-0, and it's all Orlando Hernandez right now. Here's how he got to this point. He's retired 18 in a row. If you can't hit it, how in the world are you going to get a base hit? He's got 8 strikeouts so far in the game. Right-handers are left-handers, and then when you need it, you get some defensive help. Chuck Knobloch making a nice play at second.
Juan Encarnacion swings at the slider. 0-1 to the Tiger left fielder. The crowd has gone from thunderous applause to eerie silence. Strike 2.
From this point on, you will have the crowd into every pitch from Hernandez.
Out of play. Still 0-2 to Juan Encarnacion.
Stottlemyre, a part of that perfect game last year that David Wells pitched here at the stadium. We talked about players being focused on what is happening here at the stadium. After the 5th inning, they seem to really get into it.
In a row. 1 out here in the 7th. 8 strikeouts for Hernandez.
Boy, he has just been masterful today. You know, he's got all kinds of arm angles. He's got all kinds of pitches that he will change speeds on. Encarnacion, no chance there. Way out in front on that sidearm breaking ball.
Greg Jeffries. To me, Jeffries is the type of guy who would give a guy like Hernandez trouble because of his making contact. 2 balls on Greg Jeffries.
Jeffries, one of those guys like Knobloch, Jeter, that knows the strike zone very well. Now he's got Hernandez behind in the count. He hit the ball pretty hard the last time, but he was out in front.
Strike 1, 2-1 to Jeffries. Ball 3. The first 3-ball and 1 count of the afternoon. He's had 4 3-2 counts. So he's behind Greg Jeffries, and he'll have to come in with the fastball. 11-0 Yankees here in the 7th. Ball 4. No hitter still in effect. Jeffries at first, and a big hand for Hernandez. Strike 1 to Damian Easley.
Duque has made a little bit of an adjustment this year from spring training on the advice of Roger Clemens on that shoulder. Last year, a lot of times that shoulder would fly out way too soon, and Roger said, look, got to keep your glove up and concentrate on keeping the shoulder closed a little bit longer.
Strike 3, 2 outs. Bobby, you can almost see him make a concerted effort to do that on that stretch and almost like dipping the left shoulder.
I asked Jose Cardinal, as you take a look at it here, to ask Hernandez before today's ball game about that, and he says absolutely. He says that was one of the things that he was showing me with his hand where he has his glove about how it was flying out and the shoulder wasn't staying closed long enough. And so you're right, it certainly appears that he's making a concentrated effort to keep that shoulder closed.
Tony Clark. Breaking ball, strike 1.
Appears to be working.
Only one base runner today. Through 6 2/3, Hernandez has a no-hitter against the Tigers. Nothing in 2. Line drive, base hit, right center field. So that breaks up the no-hitter as Tony Clark goes out of the strike zone for the first hit.
Actually, it was a pretty good pitch from Hernandez. You could see that Tony Clark was almost down on his knees. He was so far out in front, but he's a big guy, about 6'7", and the pitch going away from him. See how out in front he was? He was able to flick the wrist right there, way out in front. That ball could have been just a little small roller down towards the right side, but it ended up a base hit.
Dean Palmer takes a breaking ball, strike 1. Dean 0 for 2. He's flied to center, flied to right. So a no-hitter through 6 2/3. He had a perfect game with 1 out in the 7th, walking Greg Jeffries, and now Tony Clark with the first hit of the ball game. Nothing in 2 to Palmer. Now with the no-hitter and perfect game gone, we may see Dan Nolte in the 8th inning. Hammered down the left field line. This will find some room, and does. 1 run scores. So the perfect game, no-hitter, and shutout have all disappeared here in the 7th inning. But I want to tell you, there are 2 masters in the country today. 1 in Augusta and 1 here in New York.
Maybe one of the only pitches that he hung today, and that was hung inside after making Palmer look so bad on the pitch prior to that. There was a good breaking ball down and away, and Palmer lashes the double down the left field line. Disappointment, obviously, on El Duque's face, but he's got 11-1 lead.
Bobby Higginson, the right fielder. It's 11-1. New York inside to Higginson, who has struck out twice. First RBI of the year for Dean Palmer. Splitter in there, 1-1.
2 outs here at the top of the 7th inning. That's only the 86th pitch thrown by Hernandez.
That's economizing on your pitches, especially since he struck out 8. Been strike 1 on every hitter, it seems like. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Higginson.
Sometimes you wonder about the heritage of Orlando Hernandez coming from Cuba, always being in that warm weather, and today, you know, showing up And it's a very cool afternoon here at Yankee Stadium, but certainly he hasn't shown any effects of that. But he's had his hand in his mouth almost all the time, blowing on those fingers to keep them warm. Add a little bit of moisture to the fingertips so he gets a good feel of the baseball.
Two and two to Bobby Higginson. Davy Cruz is on deck. Pope toward first, and Martinez to Hernandez covering, and he will get a big hand as he leaves the field. 11-1 New York.
Ladies and gentlemen, we direct your attention to Robert Merrill.
Chad Curtis leads it off for the Yankees here in the bottom of the 7th. 11-1 New York, and a swing and a miss by Chad. A much ballyhooed Matt Anderson is the pitcher.
He's part of the bullpen out there that they call the Gunslingers, along with Brocale and Matt Anderson. Look at that yanker right there.
If Matt can ever corral it, he is going to be one of the better ones to come along in some time. As you take a look, we're going to take a look at Orlando Hernandez. After that, it looks like he's through as Curtis is down. Wicked curveball, one out here in the 7th. There's El Duque.
Second baseman.
Well, obviously disappointed not only in the perfect game, but also the no-hitter, but at least he's had an opportunity to experience that and taste it, and he can take that and build upon it. And he was talking, I think he's talking about Tony Clark. You know, Tony Clark reaching out, he had him way out in front and flicked the wrist for the base hit. I think that's what he was talking about.
Chuck Knobloch, and it's inside from Anderson.
Anderson only 22 years old. One of the top prospects in this Tiger organization. He was the first pick overall selection in 1997. He's one of those guys that gets it up there around 100 miles an hour when he is really on. And we've seen the curveball. So you talk about a gunslinger, this is called a young gunslinger.
He is a Wyatt Earp as compared to a Doc Holliday. He's from Houston, Texas. As you look at Todd Jones, newly hair-suited, as Knobloch walks with one out, and that'll bring up Derek Jeter. Take a look at our Budweiser 7th inning game summary. Almost 2 sheets. O'Neill with a sac fly. Bernie Williams, an RBI single. Posada, that 3rd inning could go to 2 pages. Brocious sac fly. Yankees sent 13 hitters to the plate, scoring 8 runs. Paul O'Neill. Now it's Jeter, jammed over to make the play is Brian Hunter. Nice play by Hunter. The ball fooled him, it appeared. Enough hang time for him to make the diving play. 2 outs.
I think that's the reason Hunter didn't catch that triple in left center field yesterday, because Hunter's got him played well over towards the right field side. Otherwise, Hunter would have never been able to pick that fly ball up.
That's a very good point, Bobby, because we were talking yesterday, Hunter coming out of your picture from playing him into right center. Why he didn't make that play in left center.
Yeah, really.
Usually with the ball with that much hang time, you do make it. Here's Paul O'Neill.
Well, I guess you could say, like, pitchers have to make an adjustment to a guy now working on his top end. So does the outfielders and infielders.
Sometimes just leaving spring training, you're more inclined to play them what they did the last year, especially if you don't play a team that much in spring training. 1-1 to O'Neill.
Anderson is known. He's only been in professional baseball since the early part, well, the winter of 1997, and last year made his debut but he is known as one of the hardest throwers in all of baseball already.
Got it up to 103 miles an hour on several occasions last year.
And when the Tigers see an arm like him, let's get him to the big leagues. We need pitching.
Well, sir. Paul O'Neill gets a taste of the Tiger future. The Yankees, however, presently ahead 11-1.
Well, back here at the stadium in the 8th inning, it's a rout by the Yankees. But tonight, his touch can kill you. A case that may be too hot for Scully and Mulder to handle. And all new X-Files tonight at 9 o'clock here on Fox 5.
Dan Nolte's first appearance in a Yankee uniform. Dan makes his home in the Anaheim area. And one of the reasons he made the club was, you folks may have seen what he just did. He gave it kind of that turned over hand. That means the fork ball, the splitter, the sinker away. His effectiveness against left-handers, the one thing that Joe Torre and Don Zimmer were impressed with in spring training.
David Cone sitting along Roger Clemens. Well, Cone had a no-hitter through 5+ innings, who tried on his ring after the ceremony when they presented the world champions with their rings. And it appears that his may be just a bit too big. Now, on the other hand, no, I shouldn't say on the other hand.
No, you shouldn't.
On the left hand, on the proper hand.
Yeah.
In the cold weather, your fingers are a little bit smaller than they are in warmer weather, so you got to wait for the weather to warm up a bit. Try it on again. I don't know.
Yes, you do.
Sounds good to me.
Sounds good to me.
Hideki Arabu now warming up as Larry Parrish is doing. He's trying to get some of his pitching staff a little work. This is Dan Nolte working for his, working the first time for the Yankees. Davy Cruz leading off here in the 8th inning. Bottom 3, followed by Hasselman and then Brian Hunter for the Tigers. 11-1 New York. And it's been an exciting game, even though it's been a blowout, because of El Duque. Orlando Hernandez had a perfect game going through the first 19 hitters. One out in the 7th inning before he walked Greg Jeffries. And then finally, Tony Clark in that same inning getting a base hit, breaking up the no-hitter. Now Nolte getting a chance to make his mark with the Yankees. That's Hasselman waiting on deck. Out into left center field. No problem for Curtis, and there's one gone here in the 8th.
Dan obtained by the Yankees for Alan Butler, a third baseman, during the winter, November 16th. 3 different years with Minnesota. That's some nasty stuff.
Hasselman 0 for 2, sends whistling deep in left field, and Curtis will look up, and it's gone. So the first pitch to Hasselman hit out of the ballpark for his first base hit, and obviously his first home run and RBI of 1999.
Just a matter of Bill Hasselman, it appeared, going up there looking for one pitch, the fastball, and getting it up around the letters. And he hits it hard to left field for his first hit of the 99 season.
Now this is Brian Hunter. You know, if you're not getting the job done like Nolte with the fastball and the breaking ball, and you're working on a new pitch like the split finger, that's how you can make an adjustment. What a play by Brocious just to knock the ball down. Of course, you can't throw out the speedy Hunter. But a nice play holding Hunter to a single. That's going to be a double all the way down the left field line if he doesn't get some leather on it. And they called that an infield hit.
Yeah, it was a hit all the way. Remember, the Yankees have not made an error this season.
Encarnacion. Nice backhand by Jeter. It'll be a quick throw, and not a good throw by Jeter, off balance. Two guys that can run real well, and Hunter and Encarnacion. So 2 men are on now.
And another infield hit. Derek Jeter does all he can. Jumping in the air, the little short hop. Knobloch can't come up with it. Even had Chuck come up with the ball, I don't know whether they would have had the runner. Nope, they wouldn't have.
Now Jeffries, who broke up the perfect game with a walk in the 7th inning off of El Duque. During your catching days, and I don't think that I've looked to see, did you catch, how many no-hitters did you catch?
2.
Caught 2 no-hitters.
Bill Stoneman in 1972 after Rick Wise in 1971. Rick Wise may have had the best day of any pitcher in the history of the game. He had 2 two-run homers and pitched a no-hitter and won 5-0 against Cincinnati.
No perfect games, though.
No. Only, what, 14 have been pitched in Major League history.
And the only one from Don Larson in postseason play, that being in the World Series. Which Yogi was talking about the other day when we had Yogi on opening day, when Yogi came back to Yankee Stadium after 14 years. Did you ask Yogi about Dale Mitchell and what was it you asked him about?
Yeah, I said, where was that pitch to Dale Mitchell? Yeah, I've asked him that 100 times. He keeps telling me that pitch is right there.
I know, I remember. He said, what are you talking about? That was right down the middle. This could be 2. Knobloch for 1. Back to Martinez. 6-4, 3 double play. So the Tigers are gone. We've played 7.5 here at the stadium. Yankees blowing the Tigers out 11-2. All right, bottom of the 8th coming up for the Yankees. A new pitcher for the Detroit Tigers. Todd Jones will come in, but let's talk about the upcoming homestand against the Orioles. And really the first test, I guess, for the Yankees this year, 1999. Tuesday, 7:30, Mendoza will go for the Yankees. And Juan Guzman for the Orioles. And Wednesday and Thursday nights also at 7:30. Tickets available at the stadium ticket windows and Ticketmaster. Should be exciting that the Orioles coming into town. It's been talked about that the Orioles, with the new addition of Albert Bell, will be the first time we see him in an Oriole uniform. Also, excuse me, Tim, I'm just going to say, change at second base. Luis Garcia now playing second base in place of Easley for the Tigers.
What a matchup on Thursday night here at the stadium. It's going to be Roger Clemens against Mike Mussina. Whew.
Bernie, who is 2 for 4 this afternoon with an RBI and a run scored. The Yankees lead it 11-2. Talking about getting some work in. Todd Jones, normally the closer for this Tiger ball club, but he hasn't had an opportunity to worry about that in this series, so he's in here to get a little work right now. On deck is Chili Davis.
Todd Jones with the same stuff but different hair.
We may see Arabu in the 9th inning.
Looks that way then.
Jones from Marietta, Georgia.
Talk about a guy who throws across.
Like a bulldog.
Yeah, he does. He you know, we talk about it the other day about the left-hander for the Pirates, Runyon, or for the Tigers, Sean Runyon in Game 1, about how he throws across his body. Todd Jones is the right-handed version of that. Well, this is a real strain on the shoulder right there. Sometimes that's one of the reasons that a pitcher is so tough. that his motion isn't fluid. You can almost see the strain in that right shoulder. Usually it happens in the back of the shoulder when you throw across your body like that, but Todd's held up pretty well. He's had a fine career.
Led the Tigers in saves at games finished last year. A little looping fly ball out of the left field, but Encarnacion chases it down, one gone. I suspect that the heir apparent to that closer's job is the guy we just saw, that young 22-year-old right-hander, Matt Anderson.
Bet your house on that. Woo. Nasty.
Nasty.
Pitching, one of the few occupations where you can be called nasty and be reputable.
And they like you.
Yeah,
a lot. Pretty nasty curveball there. Folks, take a look at this fan. I believe this qualifies as the Toyota Everyday Fan. I'll put my vote in there. That's right. Waving the Yankee hat. Yankees lead it 11-2. Dad's saying, get your hand out of my face. I can't see.
Working on his encores there. Taking the hat off.
Nothing better than to see dad and son, mother and daughter at the ballpark enjoying a good baseball game. My kids, when they came to the ballpark here in the 70s, especially my son, he was always underneath playing with all the other kids. They had their own game going on underneath the stadium here in the tunnelway. And they never had a clue what was going on in the real baseball game. They had their own game going.
Could care less.
Yeah, and they loved every minute of it. And when we got ready to leave, they were mad.
Their game wasn't over, but yours was.
Their game was never over. Be out of play. The count remains at 2. Davis, a couple of hits on the day so far with a run scored. He's had the opportunity to bat from both sides. Started out hitting right-handed against Justin Thompson, the left-hander who started for the Tigers. Outside for ball 3, 3-2. 32,398 to see the game this afternoon. This is the final game of this 3-game series. I thought he was through with that thing. I thought he'd taken the last bite just a moment ago. He must have got his sisters.
Yeah, it's a good thing that stuff dissolves quickly. That stuff being cotton candy.
That stuff being pure sugars. What,
yeah.
what that is.
It's funny. You eat cotton candy as a child until you're like 11, and then you don't eat it for like 10 years, and you taste it again, and you go, I ate that?
Along with a chili dog as Chili Davis takes a base on balls from Todd Jones. So a runner on for the Yankees here in the 8th inning. A cool afternoon here at the stadium. Overcast skies, and thank heavens that the heavens haven't opened up here at the stadium as predicted. They were thinking that heavy rains was just lurking around the corner here around 12, 1 o'clock.
Little rain in the top of the 4th inning, but nothing serious. Play was not stopped. Orlando Hernandez, a brilliant performance today, retiring the first 19. Then a walk to Greg Jeffries, a single by Tony Clark, and a double by Dean Palmer. Only run he gave up. 1 run, 2 hits, and 7 innings of work.
Well, the Yankees came into this game winning 4 in a row. This could be 5 in a row. That's down low for a ball. Now it's 2-1 to Martinez. Stottlemyre on the phone to the bullpen. We expect to see baby Hideki Arabu pitching tonight. Back up the middle. Cruz will take the double play himself, and a nice play made by the shortstop, and the Yankees are gone. Here in the 8th inning, we've played 8. It's 11-2 New York. Well, it won't be Hideki Arabu. It's going to be Dan Nolte pitching here in the top of the 9th inning. Yankees lead it 11-2. Beautiful look. What bridge is that there?
GW?
Is that the GW?
Triborough?
Triborough. Okay, well, we'll go right down the line. We'll finally get to it.
We'll get to it.
Let's take a look at today's Red Hot Connection, which occurred in the 7th inning. And it's El Duque in our Red Hot Connection. He struck out 8 in the game. He had a perfect game going on, and he retired the first 19 hitters that he faced in this game before a walk to Greg Jeffries. That was Encarnacion striking out. And this is the last hope for the Detroit Tigers. Garcia leads it off. He came in to play second base for Easley last inning. So he gets a chance to hit. Long run for Bernie Williams. He's got a beat on it. One gone.
Can't help but think with the Orioles coming to town after an off day tomorrow, the Orioles for 3 night games. Last year when the Orioles were in town the first time, the beating of Tino Martinez by Armando Benitez. Armando Benitez now with the Mets. A raucous series last year, and it promises to be a good one this year.
Well, 5 hits in this game so far, but the most significant one was the one that Tony Clark got against El Duque as he flies out to left field to Chad Curtis. But we want to remind you that we will be back on the air next Saturday when the Yankees battle this same ball club, the Tigers. We're going to be in Motown for that. All the Yankee action Saturday afternoon at 1 o'clock right here on Fox 5. Tim McCarver, myself, will be in Tiger Stadium, and it's not long before they start tearing Tiger Stadium down. They're going to move into a new ballpark. Co-America, I guess, is going to be the name of that new ballpark in Detroit, and I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, of course, Tiger Stadium, as it exists right now, perhaps the best hitting ballpark in the country. I love that ballpark. Gosh.
In America.
Yeah, I mean.
In the world.
Yeah. Except
for Wrigley Field when the wind's blowing out.
Yeah.
On the ground, Groshek. And the game is over. Don Zimmer, as he said yesterday, I guess I managed a pretty darn good game. Well, he did another good managing job today. The Yankees have now won 5 in a row and sweeping the first 3-game series here at Yankee Stadium. El Duque gets his 2nd win of the year. Paul O'Neill continues his hitting. And the Yankees, Tim, really blew it open in the bottom of the 3rd inning with 8.
Just an overpowering performance by the Yankees in this 3-game series. They win 12-3, 5-0, and 11-2. And what a remarkable performance by Orlando Hernandez, retiring the first 19 and ending up giving up only 1 run and 2 hits over 7.
I guess if you talk to the Tiger players right now, they would be certainly convinced that this certainly is a World Championship ball club. That'll bring a smile to your face no matter what kind of pain you're in.
Winners laugh and tell jokes.
As them looking for the last out and getting congratulations from Jose Cardenal. 11-2, Yankees win it. We'll be back. New York Yankees baseball on Fox 5 has been brought to you in part by General Motors, the company you can count on wherever life takes you. That's General Motors, people in motion. And by Thumann's. Remember, fans, when it comes to Thumann's, they're the deli best. And by American Express. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, American Express helps you do more. Well, the Yankees win it 11-2, sweeping the Tigers. Certainly off to a great start in 1999 here at Yankee Stadium.
About as strong, Bobby, as everybody suspected they'd be.
You get Cone, Clemens, and El Duque.
No soft spots.
It'll send you off scratching your head wondering what in the world happened to us. Well, once again, the final score, the Yankees 11 and the Tigers 2. Be sure to be with us again next Saturday afternoon, April the 17th, when the Yankees take on the Detroit Tigers in Tiger Town. It will all start here on Fox 5 at 1 o'clock. Now stay tuned for Fox 5 Weekend Movie featuring Columbo. Well, for Eddie Caginelli, Bill Webb, Leon Swire, our producer, Andrew Braun, and my partner, Tim McCarver, I'm Bobby Mercer. See you in Detroit next Saturday. Good night, everybody.